If you want to speak English confidently, naturally, and effortlessly, you're in the right place. In the next 2 hours, you'll learn 1,600 real sentences used by real people in real situations. These are not textbook lines, not robotic expressions, and not strange phrases nobody uses. These are the sentences you'll hear in cafes, offices, airports, homes, group chats, meetings, and every corner of daily life. If you stay with me until the end, your English will not only sound more fluent, it will feel alive. You'll understand people faster, respond more confidently, and express your thoughts without fear. Now, let's get started right away. Let's begin with everyday communication, the kind of English that makes conversations flow smoothly. These sentences are simple, natural, and used constantly. Listen carefully and repeat with me when you can. The first one is, "How's everything with you?" This is a friendly way to start a conversation. Often used with coworkers or friends you haven't seen in a few days. Try it now. How's everything with you? Another natural sentence is, "I've been meaning to ask you something." This is useful when you want to bring up a topic you've been thinking about. It sounds natural, polite, and gentle. Repeat it with me. I've been meaning to ask you something. When someone shares news with you, whether positive or neutral, you can say, "Oh, that makes sense." This shows understanding and keeps the conversation flowing. Repeat, "That makes sense." If you want to show interest in someone's update, say, "Tell me more about it." This sentence is powerful because it shows curiosity and respect. Try it with me. Tell me more about it. In daily conversations, people often mention their plans. A natural response is, "I hope it works out for you." This is polite, supportive, and very common. Repeat, "I hope it works out for you." When something good happens to someone, you can say, "I'm really glad to hear that. This sounds positive and genuine. Try it now. I'm really glad to hear that." If someone tells you something difficult or stressful, you can respond with, "That sounds tough." Are you okay? This shows empathy and care, something native speakers do naturally. Repeat, "That sounds tough. Are you okay?" Let's practice a short mini conversation using some of these new sentences. Listen first. A says, "How's everything with you?" B responds, "Things are all right, but work has been a bit stressful." A says, "That makes sense. Tell me more about it." B replies, "I've been working late every night this week." A responds, "That sounds tough. Are you okay?" Now repeat the dialogue slowly with me. A, "How's everything with you?" B, "Things are all right, but work has been a bit stressful." A, "That makes sense. Tell me more about it." B, "I've been working late every night this week." A, "That sounds tough. Are you okay?" Good. Now let's learn more useful everyday sentences. A natural way to share that you're tired is, "I didn't sleep well last night." This is common in many conversations. Repeat, "I didn't sleep well last night." If something is taking longer than expected, you can say, "This is taking more time than I thought." Repeat that slowly. "This is taking more time than I thought." When someone is explaining something and you want to show that you understand, say, "I see what you're saying." Repeat, "I see what you're saying." If something surprises you, say, "I wasn't expecting that." Repeat, I wasn't expecting that. Here's another useful one. Let me know if you need anything. This is warm, friendly, and very common in English-speaking countries. Repeat. Let me know if you need anything. If you want someone to wait for a moment, say, give me a second. It's casual and natural. Repeat. Give me a second. When someone shares good news, here's a supportive sentence. You must feel really happy about that. Repeat. You must feel really happy about that. Let's build another small conversation with some of these sentences. Listen first. A says, give me a second, I'm finishing something. B responds, no problem, take your time. A says, thanks. This is taking more time than I thought. B says, I see what you're saying. Let me know if you need anything. Now shadow the conversation with me. A, give me a second. I'm finishing something. B, no problem. Take your time. A, thanks. This is taking more time than I thought. B, I see what you're saying. Let me know if you need anything. Excellent. Now, let's continue with more real-life English you can use today. If you want to check on someone's plans, say, do you already have something in mind? This is natural and polite. Repeat it. Do you already have something in mind? When offering help. Another natural phrase is, I can help you with that if you want. Repeat. I can help you with that if you want. If you need a short break, say, I just need a minute to clear my head. This is realistic and used often. Repeat. I just need a minute to clear my head. When you hear something confusing, you can say, can you explain that in a different way? This is polite and useful. Repeat. Can you explain that in a different way? Let's add one more for this section. I appreciate your honesty. This is powerful because it shows respect. Repeat. I appreciate your honesty. Let's keep going. In this section, we'll continue exploring natural, everyday English sentences that make conversations feel smooth, confident, and connected. Listen carefully. Repeat when possible. And imagine yourself using these sentences in real life. A useful sentence you can use when someone shares exciting news is, that must feel amazing. This shows emotion and understanding. Say it with me. That must feel amazing. When you want to politely refuse something without sounding rude. Use this, I really appreciate it. But maybe another time. This sentence is gentle, respectful, and very commonly used. Repeat. I really appreciate it. But maybe another time. If someone gives you helpful information, you can respond with, that helps a lot. Thank you. This sounds grateful and sincere. Try it. That helps a lot. Thank you. When something unexpected happens, you can say, wow, I didn't see that coming. This is natural and expressive. Repeat. I didn't see that coming. Here's another one you'll hear often. Let's figure this out together. This sentence is perfect for teamwork and problem solving. Repeat. Let's figure this out together. If you want to encourage someone who is unsure, say, you're on the right track. This sentence gives confidence. Try it. You're on the right track. Now let's build another mini dialogue using some of these new sentences. Listen first. A says, I finally finished my project. B responds, that must feel amazing. A says, it really does. Thanks for your help. B says, no problem. I'm glad it helped. A says, you're on the right track with your project too. Now repeat the dialogue slowly with me. A. I finally finished my project. B. That must feel amazing. A. It really does. Thanks for your help. B. No problem. I'm glad it helped. A. You're on the right track with your project too. Great. Now let's continue with more real-life sentences you can use in daily conversations. Sometimes you want to check if someone understands your point. You can say, "Does that make sense so far?" This sentence is friendly and helps communication stay clear. Repeat, "Does that make sense so far?" When you're explaining something and want to simplify it. Use. Here's the simple version. This makes your explanation easier to follow. Repeat. Here's the simple version. If you want to buy some time before giving an answer, say, "Let me think about it for a moment." Repeat. Let me think about it for a moment. When responding to an invitation you like but can't accept, you can say, "I'd love to, but I already have plans." This is polite and respectful. Repeat, "I'd love to, but I already have plans." If someone shares something impressive or surprising, respond with, "Seriously, that's incredible." Repeat, "Seriously, that's incredible." Now imagine a short scene using these new sentences. A says, "I was asked to lead the meeting today." B responds, "Seriously, that's incredible." A says, "Thanks, but I'm a little nervous." B says, "Here's the simple version. Just stay calm and be yourself." A says, "Does that make sense so far?" B answers, "Yes, you'll be fine." Now shadow the conversation with me, slowly and naturally. A. I was asked to lead the meeting today. B. Seriously, that's incredible. A. Thanks, but I'm a little nervous. B. Here's the simple version. Just stay calm and be yourself. A. Does that make sense so far? B. Yes, you'll be fine. Good. Now let's move on to another useful group of sentences based on showing interest and keeping conversations alive. When someone tells you a story and you want to show active listening, say, "What happened next?" This keeps the conversation going. Repeat, "What happened next?" If the story is surprising, respond with, "No way. That's unbelievable." Repeat, "No way. That's unbelievable." When you want to politely ask for someone's opinion, say, "What's your take on this?" This sounds intelligent and natural. Repeat, "What's your take on this?" If you're unsure about something, you can use, "I'm not completely sure yet." Repeat, "I'm not completely sure yet." Here's another one. Let me double check that. This is useful at work, school, or everyday life. Repeat, "Let me double check that." Now let's combine these sentences into a mini conversation. Listen first. A says, "I heard they're changing the entire schedule next week." B responds, "What's your take on this?" A says, "I'm not completely sure yet. I need more information." B says, "No way. That's unbelievable." A says, "Let me double check that before we assume anything." Now shadow the conversation with me. A, "I heard they're changing the entire schedule next week." B, "What's your take on this?" A, "I'm not completely sure yet. I need more information." B, "No way. That's unbelievable." A, "Let me double check that before we assume anything." Excellent. Now let's keep building your natural English sentences with expressions for planning and organizing your day. A useful sentence for making appointments is, "Does this time work for you?" This is polite, clear, and used constantly. Repeat. Does this time work for you? When someone suggests a time you like, respond with, "That works perfectly for me." Repeat. That works perfectly for me. If you need to change the time, say, "Can we reschedule for a bit later?" Repeat. Can we reschedule for a bit later? When you're making an agreement, say, "That sounds like a solid plan." Repeat. That sounds like a solid plan. If you're unsure about timing, you can ask, "Should we decide now or later?" Repeat, "Should we decide now or later?" Let's place these into a conversation. A says, "Does this time work for you?" B responds, "Actually, can we reschedule for a bit later?" A says, "Sure. How about 3 in the afternoon?" B says, "That works perfectly for me." A replies, "Great. That sounds like a solid plan." Now shadow the conversation with me. A, "Does this time work for you?" B, "Actually, can we reschedule for a bit later?" A, "Sure. How about 3 in the afternoon?" B, "That works perfectly for me." A, "Great. That sounds like a solid plan." Very good. Now let's move forward with more real, daily, natural English. When you want to express relief, say, "I'm glad that's over." This is very common after something stressful. Repeat, "I'm glad that's over." If someone helps you fix a problem, respond with, "You saved me a lot of trouble." Repeat, "You saved me a lot of trouble." When you want to comfort someone, say, "It's okay to feel that way." Repeat, "It's okay to feel that way." If someone is confused, you can say, "Let's go through it step by step." Repeat, "Let's go through it step by step." And if you want to express certainty, say, "I'm completely sure about this." Repeat, "I'm completely sure about this. Let's keep building strong, natural English." In this section, we'll focus on clarity, confidence, and real-life usefulness. These are sentences you'll use in conversations every single day, whether you're at work, at home, or with friends. Sometimes you want to express surprise in a polite and natural way. You can say, "I wasn't expecting that at all." This is gentle, realistic, and common. Repeat, "I wasn't expecting that at all." If you need someone to slow down while speaking, use this sentence. "Could you say that a little more slowly?" This is polite and very helpful in real conversations. Repeat, "Could you say that a little more slowly?" When someone explains something, and you want to show that you really understood, say, "Got it. That's clear now." Repeat, "Got it. That's clear now." If you want to check again to avoid mistakes, use "just to be sure." Do you mean this? Repeat, "Just to be sure." Do you mean this? When someone shares a challenge or a problem, you can respond with, "I can imagine how that must feel." This sentence shows empathy. Repeat, "I can imagine how that must feel." Let's build a simple conversation using some of these natural sentences. Listen first. A says, "I didn't get much sleep last night." B responds, "I can imagine how that must feel." A says, "My neighbor was making noise until 2 in the morning." B replies, "I wasn't expecting that at all." "Did you talk to them?" A says, "Not yet, but I will." Now repeat the dialogue slowly with me. A, "I didn't get much sleep last night." B, "I can imagine how that must feel." A, "My neighbor was making noise until 2 in the morning." B, "I wasn't expecting that at all. Did you talk to them?" A, "Not yet, but I will." Good. Now let's continue. When you want someone to repeat something politely, say, "Would you mind saying that again?" Repeat. "Would you mind saying that again?" If you want to express mild frustration without sounding rude, use, "This is a bit more complicated than I thought." Repeat. "This is a bit more complicated than I thought." When you want to suggest a new idea, you can say, "What if we try it another way?" Repeat. "What if we try it another way?" If someone gives you instructions and you want to confirm, say, "So, just to confirm, I should do this first." Right, repeat. "Just to confirm, I should do this first." Right. When someone helps you with a difficult task, you can respond with, "I really needed that. Thank you." Repeat. "I really needed that. Thank you." Let's create a short scene using these sentences. Listen first. A says, "I'm confused about this form." B responds, "Would you mind saying what part is confusing?" A says, "The instructions aren't very clear." B says, "This is a bit more complicated than I thought." A says, "What if we try it another way?" B replies, "Sure, just to confirm." "You want me to walk you through each step?" A says, "Yes, please. I really needed that. Thank you." Now shadow the conversation with me. A, "I'm confused about this form." B, "Would you mind saying what part is confusing?" A, "The instructions aren't very clear." B, "This is a bit more complicated than I thought." A, "What if we try it another way?" B, "Sure, just to confirm." "You want me to walk you through each step?" A, "Yes, please. I really needed that. Thank you." Excellent. Now let's move into a new group showing opinions and expressing yourself naturally. If you want to share your honest thoughts, say, "To be honest, I feel differently about that." Repeat, "To be honest, I feel differently about that." When you want to make a point softly, use, "Here's what I think." Repeat, "Here's what I think." If you want to keep the conversation balanced, use "I see your point." "But I have another perspective." Repeat, "I see your point, but I have another perspective." When you want to express uncertainty, say, "I'm still thinking about it." Repeat, "I'm still thinking about it." To express confidence, use, "I'm pretty sure about this." Repeat, "I'm pretty sure about this." Let's build a short conversation combining these sentences. Listen first. A says, "I think we should finish this today." B responds, "I see your point, but I have another perspective." A says, "What do you think?" B says, "Here's what I think. We might do better if we take more time." A answers, "I'm still thinking about it." B says, "To be honest, I feel differently about that." Now shadow the conversation slowly. A, "I think we should finish this today." B, "I see your point, but I have another perspective." A, "What do you think?" B, "Here's what I think. We might do better if we take more time." A, "I'm still thinking about it." B, "To be honest, I feel differently about that." Good. Now let's continue. When you want to describe something you don't fully understand, use this sentence, "I'm still trying to wrap my head around it." Repeat, "I'm still trying to wrap my head around it." If someone shares very good news, respond with, "I'm genuinely happy for you." Repeat, "I'm genuinely happy for you." When something is annoying but not serious, say, "It's nothing major." Just a little frustrating. Repeat, "Nothing major." Just a little frustrating. If you're waiting for something important, you can say, I'm really hoping for good news. Repeat, I'm really hoping for good news. When someone apologizes to you, a natural response is, thanks for letting me know. It's okay. Repeat, thanks for letting me know. It's okay. Let's create another natural mini dialogue. A says, sorry for sending the files so late. B responds, thanks for letting me know. It's okay. A says, I had a few computer issues. B says, nothing major, just a little frustrating. Right. A replies, yes. I'm still trying to wrap my head around what happened. B says, I'm genuinely happy for you that things are fixed now. Now shadow the conversation with me. A, sorry for sending the files so late. B, thanks for letting me know. It's okay. A, I had a few computer issues. B, nothing major, just a little frustrating. Or right. A, yes. I'm still trying to wrap my head around what happened. B, I'm genuinely happy for you that things are fixed now. Excellent. Let's keep the flow going. Sometimes you want to express that you are unsure but willing to try. Use this sentence, I can give it a try. Repeat, I can give it a try. If you want to describe something that surprised you in a good way, say, that turned out better than expected. Repeat, that turned out better than expected. When making plans, you can say, let's see what happens. Repeat, let's see what happens. If someone is worried, you can comfort them with, you're not alone. I'm here with you. Repeat, you're not alone. I'm here with you. If you want to encourage someone who is afraid of making mistakes, say, it's okay to get things wrong. That's how we learn. Repeat, it's okay to get things wrong. That's how we learn. Let's continue building your English fluency with sentences that feel real, modern, and natural. These expressions help you sound clear, confident, and emotionally connected when speaking with anyone, anywhere. When you want to reassure someone who feels uncertain, you can say, you're doing better than you think. This is warm, supportive, and very natural. Repeat, you're doing better than you think. If you want to politely suggest taking a break, use this sentence. Maybe we should take a short break and come back to it. Repeat, maybe we should take a short break and come back to it. When someone asks for your help and you want to accept politely, say, I'd be happy to help. Repeat, I'd be happy to help. If you want someone to share more details, use, can you walk me through it? Repeat, can you walk me through it? When something is confusing at first, but becomes clear later, say, now it makes more sense. Repeat, now it makes more sense. Let's put these sentences into a natural conversation. Listen carefully. A says, I'm stuck on this problem. B responds, can you walk me through it? A explains, I've tried everything, but it's still not working. B says, maybe we should take a short break and come back to it. A replies, that might help. B adds, you're doing better than you think. Now shadow the dialogue with me. A, I'm stuck on this problem. B, can you walk me through it? A, I've tried everything, but it's still not working. B, maybe we should take a short break and come back to it. A, that might help. B, you're doing better than you think. Great. Now let's continue with sentences that help you manage your day and communicate clearly. A realistic sentence for planning is, I'll do it as soon as I have a moment. Repeat, I'll do it as soon as I have a moment. When you want to express slight hesitation, say, I'm not sure if this is the right time. Repeat, I'm not sure if this is the right time. If something is urgent, you can use, we need to take care of this quickly. Repeat, we need to take care of this quickly. When someone offers useful advice, respond with, I'll keep that in mind. Repeat, I'll keep that in mind. If you want to agree politely, use, that sounds reasonable. Repeat, that sounds reasonable. Let's build a conversation using these. A says, do you think we should send this now? B responds, I'm not sure if this is the right time. A says, but we need to take care of this quickly. B replies, that sounds reasonable. I'll do it as soon as I have a moment. A says, thanks. I'll keep that in mind. Now shadow the conversation with me. A, do you think we should send this now? B, I'm not sure if this is the right time. A, but we need to take care of this quickly. B, that sounds reasonable. I'll do it as soon as I have a moment. A, thanks. I'll keep that in mind. Good. Now let's move on to sentences expressing emotions, comfort, and reassurance. When someone is stressed, a calming sentence is, take your time, no need to rush. Repeat, take your time, no need to rush. If someone blames themselves, comfort them with, be kind to yourself, you're doing your best. Repeat, be kind to yourself, you're doing your best. When encouraging someone who feels overwhelmed, say, focus on one thing at a time. Repeat, focus on one thing at a time. If you want to show empathy when someone is worried, use, it's completely understandable to feel that way. Repeat, it's completely understandable to feel that way. When you want to motivate someone gently, say, you'll get through this. Just stay steady. Repeat, you'll get through this. Just stay steady. Let's put these into a conversation. A says, I feel overwhelmed with everything going on. B responds, it's completely understandable to feel that way. A says, I don't know where to start. B says, focus on one thing at a time. A says, I'm trying. B says, take your time, no need to rush. A says, thanks, I needed that. B replies, be kind to yourself, you're doing your best. Now shadow the conversation with me. A, I feel overwhelmed with everything going on. B, it's completely understandable to feel that way. A, I don't know where to start. B, focus on one thing at a time. A, I'm trying. B, take your time, no need to rush. A, thanks, I needed that. B, be kind to yourself, you're doing your best. Well done. Let's shift now to sentences for work and productivity. When you want to ask for an update, you can say, any progress on your side? Repeat, any progress on your side. If you want to offer support, use, let me know if you need another pair of hands. Repeat, let me know if you need another pair of hands. When something is too much, you can say, this is a lot to handle at once. Repeat, this is a lot to handle at once. If you want to express responsibility, use, I'll make sure it gets done. Repeat, I'll make sure it gets done. When scheduling or planning, a helpful sentence is, we should set a clear timeline. Repeat, we should set a clear timeline. Let's create a conversation with these new sentences. A says, how's your part coming along? B responds, any progress on your side? A says, not much. This is a lot to handle at once. B replies, let me know if you need another pair of hands. A says, I appreciate that. I'll make sure it gets done. B says, great. We should set a clear timeline. Now shadow the conversation. A, how's your part coming along? B, any progress on your side? A, not much. This is a lot to handle at once. B, let me know if you need another pair of hands. A, I appreciate that. I'll make sure it gets done. B, great. We should set a clear timeline. Very good. Now, let's continue with realistic sentences for personal growth and self-reflection. When trying something new, say, I'm learning as I go. Repeat, I'm learning as I go. If you want to talk about improving a skill, use, I can see myself getting better over time. Repeat, I can see myself getting better over time. When admitting a mistake, you can say, I didn't handle that as well as I could have. Repeat, I didn't handle that as well as I could have. If you want to express hope, use, I'm optimistic about what's ahead. Repeat, I'm optimistic about what's ahead. When describing your effort, say, I'm giving it my full attention. Repeat, I'm giving it my full attention. Let's place these into a natural dialogue. A says, how's your new project going? B responds, I'm learning as I go. A says, that's good. Do you feel confident? B replies, I can see myself getting better over time. A says, that's great to hear. B adds, I'm optimistic about what's ahead. Now shadow the conversation. A, how's your new project going? B, I'm learning as I go. A, that's good. Do you feel confident? B, I can see myself getting better over time. A, that's great to hear. B, I'm optimistic about what's ahead. Let's keep building your confidence with more natural English sentences. Everything you're learning here is designed to sound real, modern, and used by native speakers every single day. Remember to repeat whenever you can. Speaking out loud trains your mouth, your rhythm, and your confidence. Let's begin with sentences you can use when things don't go as planned. These are helpful in conversations. Problem solving and expressing yourself sincerely. When something doesn't work the way you hoped, you can say, that didn't turn out the way I expected. Repeat, that didn't turn out the way I expected. If you want to express a small disappointment without sounding dramatic, use I was hoping for a better outcome. Repeat, I was hoping for a better outcome. When someone apologizes to you, and you want to show understanding, say, don't worry about it. These things happen. Repeat, don't worry about it. These things happen. If you want to stay positive, you can say, let's try again with a fresh mindset. Repeat, let's try again with a fresh mindset. When you need to change the plan, a natural sentence is, we might need to adjust our approach. Repeat, we might need to adjust our approach. Let's place these into a gentle, realistic conversation. Listen first. A says, the file didn't save properly. B responds, that didn't turn out the way I expected. A says, I was hoping for a better outcome. B replies, don't worry about it. These things happen. A says, should we try again? B responds, yes. Let's try again with a fresh mindset. We might need to adjust our approach. Now shadow the dialogue slowly. A, the file didn't save properly. B, that didn't turn out the way I expected. A, I was hoping for a better outcome. B, don't worry about it. These things happen. A, should we try again? B, yes. Let's try again with a fresh mindset. We might need to adjust our approach. Excellent. Now let's move to sentences that help you stay organized, focused, and clear. When planning, say, "Let's set a goal we can actually reach." Repeat. Let's set a goal we can actually reach. If you want to express preparation, use "I'm getting everything ready." Repeat. I'm getting everything ready. When something is uncertain, you can say, "We'll know more once we have all the details." Repeat. We'll know more once we have all the details. If someone asks how long something will take, say, "It shouldn't take too long." Repeat. It shouldn't take too long. When you want to check timing, ask, "How much time do we have left?" Repeat. How much time do we have left? Let's turn these into a mini dialogue. A says, "Are we ready to start?" B responds, "I'm getting everything ready." A says, "How much time do we have left?" B replies, "Not much, but it shouldn't take too long." A says, "Okay, let's set a goal we can actually reach." B says, "We'll know more once we have all the details." Now shadow the dialogue. A, "Are we ready to start?" B, "I'm getting everything ready." A, "How much time do we have left?" B, "Not much, but it shouldn't take too long." A, "Okay, let's set a goal we can actually reach." B, "We'll know more once we have all the details." Very good. Now let's practice sentences expressing curiosity, interest, and deeper understanding. When someone shares information and you want more clarity, say, "Can you give me an example?" Repeat, "Can you give me an example?" If you want someone to continue telling their story, use "I'm listening." Go on. Repeat, "I'm listening." Go on. When you want to check the reason behind something, say, "What made you decide that?" Repeat, "What made you decide that?" If you hear something surprising but interesting, say, "That's quite a story." Repeat, "That's quite a story." When someone shares personal feelings, you can react with, "I appreciate you sharing that with me." Repeat, "I appreciate you sharing that with me." Now let's create a natural conversation with these sentences. A says, "I changed my plans for next month." B responds, "What made you decide that?" A says, "A few things happened recently." B replies, "I'm listening. Go on." A says, "I felt like I needed a break from everything." B responds, "That's quite a story." "I appreciate you sharing that with me." Now shadow it with me. A, "I changed my plans for next month." B, "What made you decide that?" A, "A few things happened recently." B, "I'm listening." Go on. A, "I felt like I needed a break from everything." B, "That's quite a story. I appreciate you sharing that with me." Excellent. Let's continue. Now let's focus on expressing appreciation, gratitude, and respect politely. When someone supports you, say, "Your support means a lot to me." Repeat, "Your support means a lot to me." If you want to thank someone for their effort, use "I really value the time you spent on this." Repeat, "I really value the time you spent on this." When someone gives feedback, respond with "Thanks for your input." "I'll think about it." Repeat, "Thanks for your input. I'll think about it." If you want to acknowledge someone's kindness, say, "That was very thoughtful of you." Repeat, "That was very thoughtful of you." When you appreciate someone's patience, use "Thanks for being patient with me." Repeat, "Thanks for being patient with me." Let's turn these into a conversation. A says, I reviewed your draft again. B responds, I really value the time you spent on this. A says, no problem. Your support means a lot to me. B says, thanks for your input. I'll think about it. A replies, of course. That was very thoughtful of you. B says, thanks for being patient with me. Now shadow it. A, I reviewed your draft again. B, I really value the time you spent on this. A, no problem. Your support means a lot to me. B, thanks for your input. I'll think about it. A, of course. That was very thoughtful of you. B, thanks for being patient with me. Great! Now let's build sentences about making decisions. When trying to choose between options, say, I need a moment to think this through. Repeat. I need a moment to think this through. If you want to make a confident choice, use I'm going with this one. Repeat. I'm going with this one. When you want to double-check information, say, let me make sure I understand this correctly. Repeat. Let me make sure I understand this correctly. If you are leaning toward something but not fully certain, say, I'm leaning toward this option. Repeat. I'm leaning toward this option. When a choice becomes obvious, use, that makes the decision much easier. Repeat. That makes the decision much easier. Let's turn these into a mini dialogue. A says, which design do you prefer? B responds, I need a moment to think this through. A says, sure, take your time. B replies, I'm leaning toward this option. A says, interesting. Why that one? B says, it feels clearer. That makes the decision much easier. A replies, great. I'm going with this one too. Now shadow it. A, which design do you prefer? B, I need a moment to think this through. A, sure, take your time. B, I'm leaning toward this option. A, interesting. Why that one? B, it feels clearer. That makes the decision much easier. A, great. I'm going with this one too. Let's continue building your fluency with more real, useful English sentences that native speakers use every day. These sentences help you express your thoughts clearly, respond naturally, and engage confidently in any situation. Remember to repeat aloud whenever possible. The more you speak, the more automatic your English becomes. Let's begin with expressions you can use when dealing with challenges or unexpected situations. When something goes wrong and you want to stay calm, you can say, let's take a moment and figure this out. Repeat, let's take a moment and figure this out. If you're unsure about what to do next, use, I'm not completely sure what the best option is. Repeat, I'm not completely sure what the best option is. When something is unclear, say, I'm having trouble understanding this part. Repeat, I'm having trouble understanding this part. When the situation improves, you can say, things are starting to look better. Repeat, things are starting to look better. If you want to encourage someone who's frustrated, say, you're handling this better than you realize. Repeat, you're handling this better than you realize. Now, let's build a short conversation using these sentences. A says, I'm having trouble understanding this part. B responds, let's take a moment and figure this out. A says, I'm not completely sure what the best option is. B says, it's okay. Things are starting to look better. A replies, maybe, but I'm still frustrated. B says, you're handling this better than you realize. Now shadow the conversation slowly. A, I'm having trouble understanding this part. B, let's take a moment and figure this out. A, I'm not completely sure what the best option is. B. It's okay. Things are starting to look better. A. Maybe. But I'm still frustrated. B. You're handling this better than you realize. Excellent. Now, let's continue with sentences that help you give feedback politely and professionally. When you want to comment gently, use "Here's something that could make it even better." Repeat, "Here's something that could make it even better." If you want to show appreciation before giving feedback, say, "You did a good job, and I have a few suggestions." Repeat, "You did a good job, and I have a few suggestions." When you want to recommend a change, say, "Maybe consider adjusting this part." Repeat, "Maybe consider adjusting this part." If you agree with someone's idea, say, "That's a valuable point." Repeat, "That's a valuable point." When you want to close the conversation politely, use "Thanks for discussing this with me." Repeat, "Thanks for discussing this with me." Let's create a smooth, realistic dialogue. A says, "What do you think about this version?" B responds, "You did a good job, and I have a few suggestions." A says, "Sure. What do you recommend?" B replies, "Maybe consider adjusting this part." A says, "That's a valuable point." B adds, "Here's something that could make it even better." A replies, "Thanks for discussing this with me." Now shadow the dialogue. A, "What do you think about this version?" B, "You did a good job, and I have a few suggestions." A, "Sure. What do you recommend?" B, "Maybe consider adjusting this part." A, "That's a valuable point." B, "Here's something that could make it even better." A, "Thanks for discussing this with me." Great! Let's move to sentences expressing expectations, preparation, and planning. When preparing for something important, say, "I want to make sure I'm fully prepared." Repeat, "I want to make sure I'm fully prepared." If you expect something to happen, use, "I have a feeling this will turn out well." Repeat, "I have a feeling this will turn out well." When something is uncertain, say, "Let's see how things develop." Repeat, "Let's see how things develop." If you want to say you're ready, use "I'm all set whenever you are." Repeat, "I'm all set whenever you are." When you need additional time, say, "Give me a little more time to think this through." Repeat, "Give me a little more time to think this through." Let's build these into a mini dialogue. A says, "Are you ready for tomorrow?" B responds, "I want to make sure I'm fully prepared." A says, "Don't stress too much. I have a feeling this will turn out well." B replies, "Let's see how things develop." A says, "I'm all set whenever you are." B responds, "Give me a little more time to think this through." Shadow the conversation with me. A, "Are you ready for tomorrow?" B, "I want to make sure I'm fully prepared." A, "Don't stress too much. I have a feeling this will turn out well." B, "Let's see how things develop." A, "I'm all set whenever you are." B, "Give me a little more time to think this through." Excellent. Now let's expand into sentences for social interactions and polite communication. When you want to start a conversation politely, say, "Do you have a moment to talk?" Repeat, "Do you have a moment to talk?" If someone is busy and you want to respect their time, use "I don't want to interrupt if you're in the middle of something." Repeat, "I don't want to interrupt if you're in the middle of something." When asking for someone's opinion, say, "I'd really like to hear what you think." Repeat, I'd really like to hear what you think. If someone shares something interesting, respond with, "That's a great insight." Repeat, "That's a great insight." When you want to end a conversation politely, say, "Let me know if you need anything else." Repeat, "Let me know if you need anything else." Let's create a social conversation. A says, "Do you have a moment to talk?" B responds, "Sure. What's up?" A says, "I'd really like to hear what you think about this idea." B replies, "That's a great insight." A says, "Thanks. I didn't want to interrupt if you're in the middle of something." B says, "Not at all. Let me know if you need anything else." Now shadow the dialogue. A, "Do you have a moment to talk?" B, "Sure. What's up?" A, "I'd really like to hear what you think about this idea." B, "That's a great insight." A, "Thanks. I didn't want to interrupt if you're in the middle of something." B, "Not at all. Let me know if you need anything else." Great. Now let's build more sentences for emotional expression and self-awareness. When you feel unsure about something, say, "I'm trying to understand how I feel about it." Repeat, "I'm trying to understand how I feel about it." When describing a stressful moment, say, "It's been a long day, but I'm managing." Repeat, "It's been a long day, but I'm managing." When you want to express relief, use, "I feel much lighter now." Repeat, "I feel much lighter now." If you want to show emotional strength, say, "I'm learning to stay calm even when things get difficult." Repeat, "I'm learning to stay calm even when things get difficult." When something gives you hope, say, "This gives me a little more confidence." Repeat, "This gives me a little more confidence." Let's turn these into a soft, emotional conversation. A says, "How are you feeling about everything?" B responds, "I'm trying to understand how I feel about it." A says, "That sounds tough." B replies, "It's been a long day, but I'm managing." A says, "I'm glad to hear that." B responds, "I feel much lighter now." A says, "You seem stronger." B replies, "I'm learning to stay calm even when things get difficult. This gives me a little more confidence." Now shadow it slowly. A, "How are you feeling about everything?" B, "I'm trying to understand how I feel about it." A, "That sounds tough." B, "It's been a long day, but I'm managing." A, "I'm glad to hear that." B, "I feel much lighter now." A, "You seem stronger." B, "I'm learning to stay calm even when things get difficult. This gives me a little more confidence." Let's continue your journey toward confident, natural English. In this section, we'll learn more sentences that help you navigate real-life situations with clarity, politeness, and emotional intelligence. These expressions will help you sound thoughtful, mature, and genuinely fluent when speaking with others. Let's begin with sentences that help you manage stress, energy, and daily mood. When you feel mentally tired, you can say, "My mind feels a little overloaded today." Repeat, "My mind feels a little overloaded today." If you feel physically exhausted, use, "I need a moment to recharge." Repeat, "I need a moment to recharge." When something calms you down, say, "This helps me breathe easier." Repeat, "This helps me breathe easier." If you want to give yourself emotional space, use, "I'm taking things one moment at a time." Repeat, "I'm taking things one moment at a time." When something finally becomes clearer after confusion, say, "It's starting to click now." Repeat, It's starting to click now. Let's place these into a soft, natural conversation. A says, I'm not myself today. B responds, why? What's going on? A says, my mind feels a little overloaded today. B replies, I get that. I need a moment to recharge sometimes too. A says, talking helps. This helps me breathe easier. B responds, that's good. Just take things one moment at a time. A replies, thanks. It's starting to click now. Now shadow the conversation slowly. A, I'm not myself today. B, why? What's going on? A, my mind feels a little overloaded today. B, I get that. I need a moment to recharge sometimes too. A, talking helps. This helps me breathe easier. B, that's good. Just take things one moment at a time. A, thanks. It's starting to click now. Great. Now let's continue with sentences you can use to express opinions, beliefs, and perspectives with confidence and respect. When sharing a gentle opinion, say, from my point of view, it seems different. Repeat. From my point of view, it seems different. If you want to show that you respect someone's opinion, even if you disagree, use I respect that. Even though I see it differently. Repeat. I respect that. Even though I see it differently. When you want to introduce your perspective, say, here's how I understand it. Repeat. Here's how I understand it. If you want to soften your criticism, say, I might be wrong, but here's what I noticed. Repeat. I might be wrong, but here's what I noticed. When appreciating someone's viewpoint, use, that's an interesting way to look at it. Repeat. That's an interesting way to look at it. Let's build these into a conversation. A says, I think the project should move faster. B responds, that's an interesting way to look at it. A says, do you disagree? B replies, from my point of view, it seems different. A asks, how so? B says, here's how I understand it. We need more data before rushing. A responds, I respect that, even though I see it differently. B says, I might be wrong, but here's what I noticed. Now shadow the dialogue. A, I think the project should move faster. B, that's an interesting way to look at it. A, do you disagree? B, from my point of view, it seems different. A, how so? B, here's how I understand it. We need more data before rushing. A, I respect that, even though I see it differently. B, I might be wrong, but here's what I noticed. Excellent. Now let's move to sentences for describing personal experiences and day-to-day life. When something unexpected changed your plans, say, my plans changed at the last minute. Repeat. My plans changed at the last minute. If something took longer than expected, use it dragged on longer than I thought. Repeat. It dragged on longer than I thought. If you enjoyed something a lot, say, I really enjoyed every bit of it. Repeat. I really enjoyed every bit of it. When you want to compliment someone's company, say, I always feel comfortable around you. Repeat. I always feel comfortable around you. When describing a nice moment, use, it was simple, but really meaningful. Repeat. It was simple, but really meaningful. Now let's use these in a conversation. A says, how was your weekend? B responds, my plans changed at the last minute. A says, oh no, did everything work out? B replies, yes, but it dragged on longer than I thought. A says, did you still have a good time? B says, yes, I really enjoyed every bit of it. A says, that's great. B replies, it was simple, but really meaningful. Now shadow the conversation. A, How was your weekend? B. My plans changed at the last minute. A. Oh no, did everything work out? B. Yes, but it dragged on longer than I thought. A. Did you still have a good time? B. Yes, I really enjoyed every bit of it. A. That's great. B. It was simple, but really meaningful. Perfect. Now let's continue with sentences for showing care, concern, and emotional support. When you want to check on someone gently, say, "Is everything okay with you lately?" Repeat, "Is everything okay with you lately?" When someone looks tired or sad, ask, "Do you want to talk about it?" Repeat, "Do you want to talk about it?" When someone feels alone, say, "You're not facing this by yourself." Repeat, "You're not facing this by yourself." If someone needs comfort, use "I'm here." If you need someone to listen, repeat, "I'm here if you need someone to listen." When someone is struggling, say, "I believe you're stronger than this challenge." Repeat, "I believe you're stronger than this challenge." Let's create a warm, emotional conversation. A says, "You seem quieter these days." B responds, "I've been going through a lot." A says, "Is everything okay with you lately?" B replies, "I'm not sure." A says, "Do you want to talk about it?" B says, "Maybe later." A responds, "You're not facing this by yourself. I'm here if you need someone to listen." B replies, "Thank you. I believe I'm stronger than this challenge." Now shadow the conversation slowly. A. You seem quieter these days. B. I've been going through a lot. A. Is everything okay with you lately? B. I'm not sure. A. Do you want to talk about it? B. Maybe later. A. You're not facing this by yourself. I'm here if you need someone to listen. B. Thank you. I believe I'm stronger than this challenge. Excellent. Let's move to sentences that help you express progress, growth, and improvement. When you see improvement in yourself, say, "I can tell I'm getting better at this." Repeat, "I can tell I'm getting better at this." If you feel motivated, use "I feel more determined than ever." Repeat, "I feel more determined than ever." When something stays difficult, but you keep going, say, "It's still challenging, but I'm not giving up." Repeat, "It's still challenging, but I'm not giving up." When you learn something valuable, say, "That taught me something important." Repeat, "That taught me something important." If you want to celebrate small progress, use "It may be small, but it's still progress." Repeat, "It may be small, but it's still progress." Let's build a motivation-based conversation. A says, "You seem more confident lately." B responds, "I can tell I'm getting better at this." A says, "That's awesome." B replies, "I feel more determined than ever." A says, "Is everything easy now?" B answers, "Not at all. It's still challenging, but I'm not giving up." A says, "Good. It may be small, but it's still progress." B replies, "Yes, that taught me something important." Now shadow the dialogue. A, "You seem more confident lately." B, "I can tell I'm getting better at this." A, "That's awesome." B, "I feel more determined than ever." A, "Is everything easy now?" B, "Not at all. It's still challenging, but I'm not giving up." A, "Good. It may be small, but it's still progress." B, "Yes, that taught me something important." Let's continue building your English fluency with expressions that feel truly alive and natural. These sentences prepare you for daily conversations, emotional moments, professional situations, and everything in between. Keep repeating aloud whenever possible to strengthen your pronunciation and confidence. Let's begin with sentences for describing your day, your routines, and your habits. When you want to describe a busy schedule, you can say, "My day has been nonstop from the moment I woke up." Repeat. My day has been nonstop from the moment I woke up. If you want to talk about a slow, relaxed day, use "Today has been calm and easy." Repeat. Today has been calm and easy. When discussing productivity, say, "I finally crossed everything off my list." Repeat. I finally crossed everything off my list. If you want to express that you didn't do much, you can say, "I kept things simple today." Repeat. I kept things simple today. And when you want to describe a moment of reflection, say, "I took some time to clear my thoughts." Repeat. I took some time to clear my thoughts. Let's place these into a natural conversation. A says, "How was your day?" B responds, "My day has been nonstop from the moment I woke up." A says, "Wow, that sounds tiring." B replies, "It was, but I finally crossed everything off my list." A asks, "What about now?" B says, "Now things are calm." "I took some time to clear my thoughts." A responds, "That sounds nice. I kept things simple today." Now shadow the conversation slowly. A, "How was your day?" B, "My day has been nonstop from the moment I woke up." A, "Wow, that sounds tiring." B, "It was, but I finally crossed everything off my list." A, "What about now?" B, "Now things are calm." "I took some time to clear my thoughts." A, "That sounds nice. I kept things simple today." Great. Now let's move to social and friendly interactions, the everyday conversations that make relationships stronger. When you want to reconnect with someone, say, "It's been a while. How have you been?" Repeat, "It's been a while. How have you been?" If someone tells you something interesting, use, "That's actually really cool." Repeat, "That's actually really cool." When someone shares a funny moment, you can react with, "I can't stop laughing at that." Repeat, "I can't stop laughing at that." When ending a friendly chat, say, "Let's talk again soon." Repeat, "Let's talk again soon." When you want to show appreciation for someone's friendship, say, "I'm glad we stayed in touch all this time." Repeat, "I'm glad we stayed in touch all this time." Now let's create a smooth conversation. A says, "It's been a while. How have you been?" B responds, "I've been great, just busy." A says, "Same here. Life gets crazy sometimes." B replies, "I know." Right. A says, "I saw your photos from last week. They were amazing." B responds, "Thanks. That's actually really cool to hear." A says, "We should meet up soon." B replies, "Definitely." "Let's talk again soon." A adds, "I'm glad we stayed in touch all this time." Now shadow it. A, "It's been a while. How have you been?" B, "I've been great, just busy." A, "Same here. Life gets crazy sometimes." B, "I know, right." A, "I saw your photos from last week. They were amazing." B, "Thanks. That's actually really cool to hear." A, "We should meet up soon." B, "Definitely. Let's talk again soon." A, "I'm glad we stayed in touch all this time." Excellent. Now let's practice sentences for expressing your needs, preferences, and boundaries. When you're tired and need space, say, "I just need a bit of quiet time." Repeat, "I just need a bit of quiet time." If something matters to you, use, "This is really important to me," Repeat. This is really important to me. When someone asks your preference, say, I prefer something simple and comfortable. Repeat. I prefer something simple and comfortable. If you want to set a boundary politely, use I'm not comfortable with that. Repeat. I'm not comfortable with that. And when you want to express a small request, say, can we slow things down a little? Repeat. Can we slow things down a little? Let's build a natural conversation using these. A says, do you want to go out tonight? B responds, I prefer something simple and comfortable. A says, like staying in. B replies, yes, I just need a bit of quiet time. A says, no problem, we can slow things down a little. B responds, thanks. This is really important to me. A says, of course. I understand. B replies, I'm not comfortable with anything loud tonight. Now shadow the dialogue. A, do you want to go out tonight? B, I prefer something simple and comfortable. A, like staying in. B, yes, I just need a bit of quiet time. A, no problem, we can slow things down a little. B, thanks. This is really important to me. A, of course, I understand. B, I'm not comfortable with anything loud tonight. Great. Now let's move to sentences you can use when reflecting on life, goals, and personal growth. When thinking about the future, say, I'm trying to picture where I want to be. Repeat. I'm trying to picture where I want to be. If you want to talk about long-term goals, use I'm working toward something meaningful. Repeat. I'm working toward something meaningful. When thinking about mistakes, say, I learned a lot from what happened. Repeat. I learned a lot from what happened. To express focus, use I'm staying committed to my goals. Repeat. I'm staying committed to my goals. And when talking about your progress, say, I'm proud of the changes I'm making. Repeat. I'm proud of the changes I'm making. Let's build these into a meaningful conversation. A says, you seem different lately. B responds, I'm trying to picture where I want to be. A says, that sounds deep. B replies, I'm working towards something meaningful. A says, what inspired that? B responds, I learned a lot from what happened last year. A says, I understand. B replies, I'm staying committed to my goals, and I'm proud of the changes I'm making. Now shadow it slowly. A, you seem different lately. B, I'm trying to picture where I want to be. A, that sounds deep. B, I'm working towards something meaningful. A, what inspired that? B, I learned a lot from what happened last year. A, I understand. B, I'm staying committed to my goals, and I'm proud of the changes I'm making. Excellent. Now let's practice sentences used in practical, everyday tasks. When picking up an item, say, I need to grab a few things from the store. Repeat. I need to grab a few things from the store. If you have simple errands, use I have a couple of things to take care of. Repeat. I have a couple of things to take care of. When inviting someone casually, say, want to join me for a quick break. Repeat. Want to join me for a quick break. If you want to acknowledge someone's time, say, thanks for sticking around with me. Repeat. Thanks for sticking around with me. And when you want someone to wait, use give me just a moment. Repeat. Give me just a moment. Let's create a short, realistic dialogue. A says, what are you doing now? B responds, I need to grab a few things from the store. A says, want some company? B replies, sure, Want to join me for a quick break? A says, I have a couple of things to take care of first. B responds, no problem. Give me just a moment, A says. Thanks for sticking around with me. Now shadow the conversation. A, what are you doing now? B, I need to grab a few things from the store. A, want some company? B, sure. Want to join me for a quick break? A, I have a couple of things to take care of first. B, no problem. Give me just a moment. A, thanks for sticking around with me. Let's continue building your fluency with more real, everyday English. In this section, you'll learn sentences used in working environments, daily responsibilities, and meaningful interactions. These expressions will help you sound professional, calm, and confident in any situation. Let's begin with workplace English, the kind you can use in meetings, emails, conversations, or teamwork. When you want to begin a work discussion politely, say, let's go over the main points together. Repeat, let's go over the main points together. If you need clarification, use, can you walk me through that again? Repeat, can you walk me through that again? When you understand something clearly, say, everything makes sense now. Repeat, everything makes sense now. If you're still unsure, use, I'm not fully clear on that yet. Repeat, I'm not fully clear on that yet. When you need more time, say, I'll need a bit more time to finish this. Repeat, I'll need a bit more time to finish this. Let's build a natural conversation in a work setting. A says, are we ready to start? B responds, yes. Let's go over the main points together. A says, here's the first issue. B replies, can you walk me through that again? A explains. After that, everything should be easier. B says, okay, everything makes sense now. A asks, can you finish it today? B responds, I'm not fully clear on that yet. I'll need a bit more time to finish this. Now shadow the dialogue slowly. A, are we ready to start? B, yes. Let's go over the main points together. A, here's the first issue. B, can you walk me through that again? A, after that, everything should be easier. B, okay, everything makes sense now. A, can you finish it today? B, I'm not fully clear on that yet. I'll need a bit more time to finish this. Excellent. Now let's move to sentences that help you talk about responsibilities and commitments. When you want to show responsibility, say, I'll make sure everything is done properly. Repeat, I'll make sure everything is done properly. If you want to reassure others, use, you can count on me to handle this. Repeat, you can count on me to handle this. When needing to reschedule, say, can we move this to a later time? Repeat, can we move this to a later time? If you want to express reliability, use, I'll keep you updated as things progress. Repeat, I'll keep you updated as things progress. When confirming an agreement, say, we're on the same page. Repeat, we're on the same page. Now let's place them in a natural discussion. A says, can you take care of the report? B responds, I'll make sure everything is done properly. A says, great, I trust you. B replies, you can count on me to handle this. A says, let me know if something changes. B responds, I'll keep you updated as things progress. A says, good, we're on the same page. B replies, perfect, now shadow it. A, can you take care of the report? B, I'll make sure everything is done properly. A, great, I trust you. B, you can count on me to handle this. A, let me know if something changes. B, I'll keep you updated as things progress. A, Good, we're on the same page. B. Perfect. Great job. Now let's move to English used in daily life planning schedules, goals, and personal routines. When planning your day, say, I'm trying to organize my schedule better. Repeat, I'm trying to organize my schedule better. If someone asks your availability, use I'm free in the afternoon. Repeat, I'm free in the afternoon. When you're fully occupied, say, my day is pretty packed. Repeat, my day is pretty packed. When expecting to finish something soon, say, I should be done in a couple of hours. Repeat, I should be done in a couple of hours. And when you want to set a time frame, say, let's aim for tomorrow. Repeat, let's aim for tomorrow. Now let's build a scheduling conversation. A says, when can we meet? B responds, I'm free in the afternoon. A asks, how's your morning? B replies, my day is pretty packed. A says, when will you be done? B responds, I should be done in a couple of hours. A says, okay, let's aim for tomorrow. B replies, works for me. Now shadow it slowly. A, when can we meet? B, I'm free in the afternoon. A, how's your morning? B, my day is pretty packed. A, when will you be done? B, I should be done in a couple of hours. A, okay, let's aim for tomorrow. B, works for me. Let's move on to emotionally supportive language sentences used to comfort, understand, and encourage others. When someone feels stressed, say, you're carrying a lot. And it's okay to slow down. Repeat, you're carrying a lot. And it's okay to slow down. When someone doubts themselves, say, I believe you're more capable than you think. Repeat, I believe you're more capable than you think. When someone feels upset, use, your feelings are valid. Don't ignore them. Repeat, your feelings are valid. Don't ignore them. If someone needs reassurance, say, I'm here for you. And I'm not going anywhere. Repeat, I'm here for you, and I'm not going anywhere. When encouraging someone to move forward, use take your time, but don't lose your direction. Repeat, take your time, but don't lose your direction. Now let's put these into an emotional yet calm conversation. A says, I feel overwhelmed lately. B responds, you're carrying a lot. And it's okay to slow down. A says, I'm not sure I can handle everything. B replies, I believe you're more capable than you think. A says, some days feel impossible. B responds, your feelings are valid. Don't ignore them. A says, I just don't want to fall behind. B replies, take your time, but don't lose your direction. I'm here for you, and I'm not going anywhere. Now shadow the dialogue. A, I feel overwhelmed lately. B, you're carrying a lot, and it's okay to slow down. A, I'm not sure I can handle everything. B, I believe you're more capable than you think. A, some days feel impossible. B, your feelings are valid. Don't ignore them. A, I just don't want to fall behind. B, take your time, but don't lose your direction. I'm here for you, and I'm not going anywhere. Great. Now let's learn English for showing appreciation, warmth, and genuine interest. When thanking someone deeply, say, it means a lot that you're here. Repeat, it means a lot that you're here. When someone supports you, say, your support makes a real difference. Repeat, your support makes a real difference. When someone spends time with you, use, I appreciate you taking the time. Repeat, I appreciate you taking the time. When someone gives good advice. Say, what you said really helped me think clearly. Repeat. What you said really helped me think clearly. And when you want to express gratitude, use I'm grateful for your presence in my life. Repeat, I'm grateful for your presence in my life. Let's build a gentle conversation, A says. Thanks for meeting me today, B responds. I appreciate you taking the time, A says. I needed someone to talk to, B replies. It means a lot that you're here, A says. Your advice always helps, B responds. I'm glad. What you said really helped me think clearly too. A says, I'm grateful for your presence in my life. Now shadow the conversation slowly. A, thanks for meeting me today. B, I appreciate you taking the time. A, I needed someone to talk to. B, it means a lot that you're here. A, your advice always helps. B, I'm glad. What you said really helped me think clearly too. A, I'm grateful for your presence in my life. Now let's continue with sentences related to progress, personal development, and self-improvement. When you feel yourself growing, say, I can see a real difference in myself. Repeat, I can see a real difference in myself. When learning something new, use I'm getting more confident with every step. Repeat, I'm getting more confident with every step. When practicing new skills, say, I'm slowly building a stronger foundation. Repeat, I'm slowly building a stronger foundation. If you feel motivated, use I feel inspired to keep improving. Repeat, I feel inspired to keep improving. When reflecting on your journey, say, every effort I make is shaping me into a better version of myself. Repeat, every effort I make is shaping me into a better version of myself. Let's use these in a reflective conversation. A says, you seem more motivated these days. B responds, I can see a real difference in myself. A says, that's great. What changed? B replies, I'm getting more confident with every step. A asks, is it easy? B answers, not really. I'm slowly building a stronger foundation. A says, that's impressive. B responds, I feel inspired to keep improving. Every effort I make is shaping me into a better version of myself. Now shadow it. A, you seem more motivated these days. B, I can see a real difference in myself. A, that's great. What changed? B, I'm getting more confident with every step. A, is it easy? B, not really. I'm slowly building a stronger foundation. A, that's impressive. B, I feel inspired to keep improving. Every effort I make is shaping me into a better version of myself. Let's continue strengthening your English with more natural, real-life expressions that help you speak clearly, confidently, and emotionally. In this section, we'll focus on communication during challenges, decision-making, personal conversations, and thoughtful interactions. Keep shadowing aloud, because your voice is the key to fluency. Let's begin with sentences that help you express your thoughts when making decisions. When you need time to think, say, I need a moment to weigh my options. Repeat, I need a moment to weigh my options. If you want to express uncertainty, use I'm still thinking things through. Repeat, I'm still thinking things through. When choosing between two options, say, both choices have their pros and cons. Repeat, both choices have their pros and cons. If you're ready to decide, use I think I'm finally leaning in one direction. Repeat. I think I'm finally leaning in one direction. And when confirming your choice, say, yes, that feels right to me. Repeat, yes, that feels right to me. Let's build these into a natural decision-making conversation. A says, have you made a choice yet? B responds, not yet. I need a moment to weigh my options. A says, what's holding you back? B replies, I'm still thinking things through. A asks, what are the options? B says, both choices have their pros and cons. A says, do you know which one you prefer? B replies, I think I'm finally leaning in one direction. A says, so what's the decision? B responds, yes, that feels right to me. Now shadow the dialogue slowly. A, have you made a choice yet? B, not yet. I need a moment to weigh my options. A, what's holding you back? B, I'm still thinking things through. A, what are the options? B, both choices have their pros and cons. A, do you know which one you prefer? B, I think I'm finally leaning in one direction. A, so what's the decision? B, yes, that feels right to me. Great. Now let's move to sentences you can use when expressing your emotional state in a mature and natural way. When you feel mixed emotions, say, I'm experiencing a lot of different feelings at once. Repeat, I'm experiencing a lot of different feelings at once. When something feels overwhelming, use, it's a bit much for me right now. Repeat, it's a bit much for me right now. If you're starting to feel better, say, I'm beginning to feel more grounded. Repeat, I'm beginning to feel more grounded. When something brings comfort, use, this gives me a sense of peace. Repeat, this gives me a sense of peace. And when you want to express emotional clarity, say, I understand myself better now. Repeat, I understand myself better now. Let's turn these into a calming conversation. A says, you seem deep in thought. B responds, I'm experiencing a lot of different feelings at once. A says, do you want to talk about it? B replies, maybe later. It's a bit much for me right now. A says, that's all right. Take your time. B responds, thanks. I'm beginning to feel more grounded. A says, I'm glad. What helped? B replies, this gives me a sense of peace. I understand myself better now. Now shadow that conversation. A, you seem deep in thought. B, I'm experiencing a lot of different feelings at once. A, do you want to talk about it? B, maybe later. It's a bit much for me right now. A, that's all right. Take your time. B, thanks. I'm beginning to feel more grounded. A, I'm glad. What helped? B, this gives me a sense of peace. I understand myself better now. Excellent. Now let's move into sentences used during meaningful conversations between friends or loved ones. When you want to express interest in someone's life, say, tell me what's been going on with you lately. Repeat, tell me what's been going on with you lately. When you want to show curiosity, use, I'd really like to hear more about that. Repeat, I'd really like to hear more about that. When listening actively, say, I hear what you're saying. Repeat, I hear what you're saying. When someone shares something personal, say, thank you for trusting me with that. Repeat, thank you for trusting me with that. And when giving reassurance, use, you're safe to share anything with me. Repeat, you're safe to share anything with me. Now let's build a warm, caring conversation. A says, we haven't talked in a while. B responds, I know, Life has been overwhelming, A says. Tell me what's been going on with you lately, B replies. It's a long story, A says. I'd really like to hear more about that. B responds. Okay, but it's personal, A says. You're safe to share anything with me. B replies. Thanks. I hear what you're saying, and I appreciate your support. A responds. Thank you for trusting me with that. Now shadow the dialogue. A. We haven't talked in a while. B. I know. Life has been overwhelming. A. Tell me what's been going on with you lately. B. It's a long story. A. I'd really like to hear more about that. B. Okay, but it's personal. A. You're safe to share anything with me. B. Thanks. I hear what you're saying, and I appreciate your support. A. Thank you for trusting me with that. Great. Now let's move to practical English for errands, appointments, and everyday responsibilities. When you want to request a time slot, say, do you have any availability this week? Repeat, do you have any availability this week? If you want to confirm a schedule, use I'll mark that on my calendar. Repeat, I'll mark that on my calendar. When something is delayed, say, there's been a slight change of plans. Repeat, there's been a slight change of plans. When you want to check timing, say, what time works best for you? Repeat, what time works best for you? When something is urgent, use I need to take care of this as soon as possible. Repeat, I need to take care of this as soon as possible. Let's build an everyday coordination conversation. A says, do you have any availability this week? B responds, yes. How about Thursday? A says, that might work. What time works best for you? B replies, around 3 p.m. A responds, great. I'll mark that on my calendar. B says, sounds good. Unless there's a slight change of plans. A replies, if something comes up, let me know. I need to take care of this as soon as possible. Now shadow the conversation. A. Do you have any availability this week? B. Yes. How about Thursday? A. That might work. What time works best for you? B. Around 3 p.m. A. Great. I'll mark that on my calendar. B. Sounds good. Unless there's a slight change of plans. A. If something comes up, let me know. I need to take care of this as soon as possible. Perfect. Now let's focus on expressing comfort, care, and emotional presence, the core of meaningful conversations. When someone is anxious, say, take a slow breath. You're not alone in this. Repeat. Take a slow breath. You're not alone in this. When someone worries too much, use you're doing your best. And that's enough. Repeat. You're doing your best. And that's enough. When encouraging someone to stay hopeful, say, things won't stay this way forever. Repeat. Things won't stay this way forever. When someone feels stuck, say, you're allowed to take your time. Repeat, you're allowed to take your time. When reminding someone of their strength, use, you've handled tough moments before, and you'll handle this too. Repeat, you've handled tough moments before, and you'll handle this too. Let's build an emotional support conversation. A says, I feel like everything is falling apart. B responds, take a slow breath. You're not alone in this. A says, I don't think I'm doing well. B replies, you're doing your best, and that's enough. A says, it doesn't feel like it. B responds, things won't stay this way forever. A says, I'm scared of making mistakes. B replies, you're allowed to take your time. You've handled tough moments before, and you'll handle this too. Now shadow the dialogue. A. I feel like everything is falling apart. B. Take a slow breath. You're not alone in this. A. I don't think I'm doing well. B. You're doing your best. And that's enough. A. It doesn't feel like it. B. Things won't stay this way forever. A. I'm scared of making mistakes. B. You're allowed to take your time. You've handled tough moments before, and you'll handle this too. Let's continue developing your speaking confidence with natural English that people actually use. These sentences will help you express your thoughts clearly, interact smoothly with others, and sound emotionally mature in every situation. Keep repeating aloud and shadowing the rhythm, because the more you speak, the more fluent you become. Let's begin with sentences that help you talk about your experiences, memories, and personal reflections. When you want to share something meaningful from the past, say, I still remember that moment clearly. Repeat, I still remember that moment clearly. When recalling a lesson you learned, use, that experience taught me something valuable. Repeat, that experience taught me something valuable. When reflecting on personal growth, say, I've changed a lot since then. Repeat, I've changed a lot since then. If you want to describe an unforgettable moment, use, it's something I'll never forget. Repeat, it's something I'll never forget. And when sharing nostalgia, say, those were simpler times. Repeat, those were simpler times. Let's put these into a natural conversation. A says, do you ever think about your past? B responds, sometimes. I still remember that moment clearly. A asks, which moment? B says, the one that changed everything for me. A responds, in a good way or a bad way. B replies, that experience taught me something valuable. A says, you've grown a lot. B responds, yes, I've changed a lot since then. It's something I'll never forget. A adds, those were simpler times. Now shadow the dialogue slowly. A, do you ever think about your past? B, sometimes. I still remember that moment clearly. A, which moment? B, the one that changed everything for me. A, in a good way or a bad way. B, that experience taught me something valuable. A, you've grown a lot. B, yes, I've changed a lot since then. It's something I'll never forget. A, those were simpler times. Excellent. Now let's move on to sentences used to handle unexpected situations and small daily problems. When something goes wrong, say, that didn't go the way I expected. Repeat, that didn't go the way I expected. If you want to stay calm despite the issue, use it's okay. I'll figure it out. Repeat, it's okay. I'll figure it out. When asking someone for patience, say, give me a little time to sort this out. Repeat, give me a little time to sort this out. If something needs fixing, use, I need to look into what went wrong. Repeat, I need to look into what went wrong. When the situation improves, say, things are finally getting back on track. Repeat, things are finally getting back on track. Let's create a practical conversation. A says, the file won't open. B responds, that didn't go the way I expected. A says, what should we do? B replies, it's okay. I'll figure it out. A says, do you need help? B responds, give me a little time to sort this out. A asks, what happened? B says, I need to look into what went wrong. A asks, is it fixed? B responds, yes, things are finally getting back on track. Now shadow the dialogue. A, the file won't open. B, That didn't go the way I expected. A. What should we do? B. It's okay. I'll figure it out. A. Do you need help? B. Give me a little time to sort this out. A. What happened? B. I need to look into what went wrong. A. Is it fixed? B. Yes. Things are finally getting back on track. Great! Now let's learn sentences for expressing curiosity, learning from others, and engaging in deeper conversations. When someone shares something interesting, say, "How did you discover that?" Repeat, "How did you discover that?" If you want to learn more, use, "Can you explain it in a bit more detail?" Repeat, "Can you explain it in a bit more detail?" When appreciating a useful idea, say, "That's a helpful way to look at it." Repeat, "That's a helpful way to look at it." When expressing genuine curiosity, use, "I've always wondered about that." Repeat, "I've always wondered about that." And when recognizing someone's knowledge, say, "You really know a lot about this." Repeat, "You really know a lot about this." Let's build these into a smooth, thoughtful conversation. A says, "I learned something new yesterday." B responds, "Really? How did you discover that?" A says, "I read an article about it." B replies, "Can you explain it in a bit more detail?" A explains, "It's actually very interesting." B responds, "That's a helpful way to look at it." A says, "I've always wondered about that." B replies, "You really know a lot about this." Now shadow the dialogue. A, "I learned something new yesterday." B, "Really? How did you discover that?" A, "I read an article about it." B, "Can you explain it in a bit more detail?" A, "It's actually very interesting." B, "That's a helpful way to look at it." A, "I've always wondered about that." B, "You really know a lot about this." Excellent. Now let's move into sentences for encouraging yourself during challenging moments, a very important part of confident English speaking. When you're struggling but still trying, say, "I'm doing my best." And that's enough for today. Repeat, "I'm doing my best," and that's enough for today. When you need motivation, use, "I'm stronger than I feel right now." Repeat, "I'm stronger than I feel right now." When you want to keep going, say, "I'll take the next step." Even if it's small, repeat, "I'll take the next step," even if it's small. When you want to reduce pressure, use, "I don't need to rush. I just need to stay consistent." Repeat, "I don't need to rush. I just need to stay consistent." When you want to stay positive, say, "Things will make sense with time." Repeat, "Things will make sense with time." Let's put these into a motivational conversation. A says, "I feel like I'm not improving fast enough." B responds, "You're doing your best, and that's enough for today." A says, "I'm tired." B replies, "I know, but you're stronger than you feel right now." A says, "What should I do?" B responds, "Take the next step, even if it's small." A says, "I feel pressured." B replies, "You don't need to rush, you just need to stay consistent." A says, "Do you think things will get clearer?" B responds, "Things will make sense with time." Now shadow the conversation. A, "I feel like I'm not improving fast enough." B, "You're doing your best, and that's enough for today." A, "I'm tired." B, "I know, but you're stronger than you feel right now." A, "What should I do?" B, "Take the next step, even if it's small." A, "I feel pressured." B, "You don't need to rush, you just need to stay consistent." A, "Do you think things will get clearer?" B, "Things will make sense with time." Perfect! Let's continue with interpersonal English sentences used to communicate respectfully and thoughtfully with others. When you want to soften your tone, say, "Let me put this gently." Repeat, "Let me put this gently." When you want to disagree in a respectful way, use "I see where you're coming from, but I have a different view." Repeat, "I see where you're coming from, but I have a different view." When acknowledging someone's idea, say, "There's truth in what you're saying." Repeat, "There's truth in what you're saying." When asking for feedback, use "I'd appreciate your honest thoughts." Repeat, "I'd appreciate your honest thoughts." When giving constructive feedback, say, "Here's something that might help." Repeat, "Here's something that might help." Let's place these into a thoughtful exchange. A says, "I think we should change our plan." B responds, "Let me put this gently. I see where you're coming from, but I have a different view." A asks, "What do you think?" B replies, "There's truth in what you're saying, but we might need more time." A says, "Can you tell me more?" B responds, "Here's something that might help." Let's keep our options open. A says, "I'd appreciate your honest thoughts anytime." Now shadow the conversation. A, "I think we should change our plan." B, "Let me put this gently. I see where you're coming from, but I have a different view." A, "What do you think?" B, "There's truth in what you're saying, but we might need more time." A, "Can you tell me more?" B, "Here's something that might help." Let's keep our options open. A, "I'd appreciate your honest thoughts anytime." Finally, let's learn sentences that help you express excitement, positivity, and joy. When something makes you happy, say, "This puts a smile on my face." Repeat, "This puts a smile on my face." When something surprises you pleasantly, use "I didn't expect that, but I'm glad it happened." Repeat, "I didn't expect that, but I'm glad it happened." When you're excited about something, say, "I'm really looking forward to it." Repeat, "I'm really looking forward to it." When something impresses you, use "That's even better than I imagined." Repeat, "That's even better than I imagined." And when you feel inspired, say, "This makes me want to try harder." Repeat, "This makes me want to try harder." Let's build a cheerful exchange. A says, "I have good news." B responds, "Really?" This puts a smile on my face. A says, "I'm starting a new project." B replies, "I didn't expect that, but I'm glad it happened." A says, "I'm really looking forward to it." B responds, "That's even better than I imagined." A says, "Thanks. This makes me want to try harder." Now shadow the dialogue. A, "I have good news." B, "Really?" This puts a smile on my face. A, "I'm starting a new project." B, "I didn't expect that, but I'm glad it happened." A, "I'm really looking forward to it." B, "That's even better than I imagined." A, "Thanks. This makes me want to try harder." Let's continue creating powerful natural English that helps you speak confidently in real-life situations. In this section, we'll focus on deeper emotional language, sharing personal stories, connecting with others, and expanding your vocabulary for meaningful communication. Remember to shadow aloud, your voice is your fluency. Let's begin with sentences you can use when describing your personal journey, struggles, and moments of clarity. When reflecting on your growth, say, "I'm starting to understand myself more clearly." Repeat, "I'm starting to understand myself more clearly." If you want to express a turning point, use that moment changed the direction of my life. Repeat. That moment changed the direction of my life. When you feel proud of your progress, say, I've come a long way from where I started. Repeat. I've come a long way from where I started. If you want to share something you overcame, use, it wasn't easy, but I made it through. Repeat. It wasn't easy, but I made it through. When you want to express hope, say, I feel more hopeful about what's ahead. Repeat. I feel more hopeful about what's ahead. Let's build these into a meaningful conversation. A says, You seem different these days. B responds, I'm starting to understand myself more clearly. A asks, What happened? B replies, That moment changed the direction of my life. A says, You've really grown. B responds, I've come a long way from where I started. A asks, Was it difficult? B says, It wasn't easy, but I made it through, and I feel more hopeful about what's ahead. Now shadow it slowly. A, You seem different these days. B, I'm starting to understand myself more clearly. A, What happened? B, That moment changed the direction of my life. A, You've really grown. B, I've come a long way from where I started. A, Was it difficult? B, It wasn't easy, but I made it through, and I feel more hopeful about what's ahead. Excellent. Now let's move to sentences that help you navigate misunderstandings and emotional disagreements, an important skill in English communication. When you want to calm the situation, say, Let's take a moment to understand each other. Repeat. Let's take a moment to understand each other. When explaining your feelings gently, use, I didn't mean to upset you. Repeat, I didn't mean to upset you. If someone misunderstands you, say, That's not what I meant at all. Repeat, That's not what I meant at all. When you want to resolve a problem, say, Let's figure out a solution together. Repeat, Let's figure out a solution together. And when ending tension, use, I'm glad we talked things through. Repeat, I'm glad we talked things through. Now let's create a calm, respectful conversation. A says, I feel like you misunderstood me. B responds, Let's take a moment to understand each other. A says, Your words hurt me. B replies, I didn't mean to upset you. A says, Then what did you mean? B responds, That's not what I meant at all. Maybe I said it wrong. A says, So what should we do now? B replies, Let's figure out a solution together. A says, That sounds fair. B responds, I'm glad we talked things through. Now shadow the dialogue. A, I feel like you misunderstood me. B, let's take a moment to understand each other. A, your words hurt me. B, I didn't mean to upset you. A, then what did you mean? B, that's not what I meant at all. Maybe I said it wrong. A, so what should we do now? B, let's figure out a solution together. A, that sounds fair. B, I'm glad we talked things through. Great! Now let's focus on sentences you can use in everyday social interactions. Warm, friendly, and natural. When starting a light conversation, say, How's your day going so far? Repeat, How's your day going so far? When showing interest, use, That sounds really enjoyable. Repeat, That sounds really enjoyable. When reacting to good news, say, I'm happy things worked out for you. Repeat, I'm happy things worked out for you. When ending a conversation politely, say, I enjoyed talking to you. repeat. I enjoyed talking to you. And when saying goodbye warmly, use take care and keep in touch. Repeat, take care and keep in touch. Now let's build these into a natural conversation. A says, "How's your day going so far?" B responds, "Not too bad. I got a lot of things done." A says, "Nice. That sounds really enjoyable." B replies, "What about you?" A says, "I'm just taking things slowly today." B responds, "I'm happy things worked out for you." A says, "Thanks. I enjoyed talking to you." B says, "Same here. Take care and keep in touch." Now shadow the conversation. A, "How's your day going so far?" B, "Not too bad. I got a lot of things done." A, "Nice. That sounds really enjoyable." B, "What about you?" A, "I'm just taking things slowly today." B, "I'm happy things worked out for you." A, "Thanks. I enjoyed talking to you." B, "Same here. Take care and keep in touch." Excellent. Now let's practice sentences used when helping someone work through their emotions. When someone is stressed, say, "Tell me what's weighing on your mind." Repeat, "Tell me what's weighing on your mind." If someone feels stuck, use, "It's okay not to have all the answers." Repeat, "It's okay not to have all the answers." When offering comfort, say, "You can talk to me whenever you need to." Repeat, "You can talk to me whenever you need to." When someone is confused, say, "Let's break it down step by step." Repeat, "Let's break it down step by step." And when encouraging someone, use, "You're doing better than you think." Repeat, "You're doing better than you think." Let's put these into an emotional support conversation. A says, "I've been feeling lost lately." B responds, "Tell me what's weighing on your mind." A says, "I don't know what to do next." B replies, "It's okay not to have all the answers." A says, "I feel like I'm falling behind." B responds, "You're doing better than you think." A says, "How do I fix this?" B replies, "You can talk to me whenever you need to. Let's break it down step by step." Now shadow the dialogue. A, "I've been feeling lost lately." B, "Tell me what's weighing on your mind." A, "I don't know what to do next." B, "It's okay not to have all the answers." A, "I feel like I'm falling behind." B, "You're doing better than you think." A, "How do I fix this?" B, "You can talk to me whenever you need to. Let's break it down step by step." Great work. Now let's move to sentences for describing goals, ambitions, and plans for the future. When thinking ahead, say, "I'm planning where I want to be in the next few years." Repeat, "I'm planning where I want to be in the next few years." When talking about dreams, use, "I want to build something meaningful." Repeat, "I want to build something meaningful." When explaining long-term goals, say, "I'm working on improving myself little by little." Repeat, "I'm working on improving myself little by little." When expressing determination, use, "I'm committed to staying focused." Repeat, "I'm committed to staying focused." And when visualizing your future, say, "I can picture myself achieving this." Repeat, "I can picture myself achieving this." Let's create a motivating conversation around personal goals. A says, "What are you working toward these days?" B responds, "I'm planning where I want to be in the next few years." A says, "That sounds exciting." B replies, "I want to build something meaningful." A asks, "How are you doing that?" B responds, "I'm working on improving myself little by little." A says, "That's inspiring." B replies, I'm committed to staying focused. I can picture myself achieving this. Now shadow the conversation. A. What are you working toward these days? B. I'm planning where I want to be in the next few years. A. That sounds exciting. B. I want to build something meaningful. A. How are you doing that? B. I'm working on improving myself little by little. A. That's inspiring. B. I'm committed to staying focused. I can picture myself achieving this. Perfect. Now let's learn sentences used in moments of gratitude and appreciation, something native speakers use all the time. When you want to thank someone deeply, say, I truly appreciate everything you've done. Repeat, I truly appreciate everything you've done. When someone supports you, use your kindness means more than you know. Repeat, your kindness means more than you know. When feeling grateful for someone's presence, say, I'm lucky to have you in my life. Repeat, I'm lucky to have you in my life. When someone gives helpful advice, use, what you shared gave me a lot of clarity. Repeat, what you shared gave me a lot of clarity. When showing appreciation for time spent together, say, this conversation really lifted my spirits. Repeat, this conversation really lifted my spirits. Let's turn this into a warm interaction. A says, thanks for taking time to talk to me. B responds, I truly appreciate everything you've done too. A says, your support helps a lot. B replies, your kindness means more than you know. A says, I'm glad we're close. B responds, I'm lucky to have you in my life. A says, your words gave me clarity. B replies, I'm happy. This conversation really lifted my spirits. Now shadow it. A, thanks for taking time to talk to me. B, I truly appreciate everything you've done too. A, your support helps a lot. B, your kindness means more than you know. A, I'm glad we're close. B, I'm lucky to have you in my life. A, your words gave me clarity. B, I'm happy. This conversation really lifted my spirits. Let's continue expanding your English with deeper, richer, real-life expressions. In this section, you'll learn how to express subtle emotions, describe everyday experiences, interact socially, and communicate with clarity. Speak aloud as you shadow repetition builds fluency. Let's begin with sentences that help you express subtle emotional states in a calm and mature way. When you feel mentally tired but still functioning, say, my mind feels a bit foggy today. Repeat, my mind feels a bit foggy today. When you feel emotionally heavy, use, there's a lot on my heart right now. Repeat, there's a lot on my heart right now. When you start feeling better, say, I'm slowly finding my balance again. Repeat, I'm slowly finding my balance again. When you want to express inner strength, use, I'm learning to stay calm through difficult moments. Repeat, I'm learning to stay calm through difficult moments. And when you feel peaceful, say, I feel a gentle calm inside me. Repeat, I feel a gentle calm inside me. Let's place these in a natural conversation. A says, you look a little off today. B responds, my mind feels a bit foggy today. A asks, is something wrong? B says, there's a lot on my heart right now. A responds, do you want to talk about it? B replies, maybe later. I'm slowly finding my balance again. A asks, how do you stay so calm? B says, I'm learning to stay calm through difficult moments. I feel a gentle calm inside me. Now shadow the dialogue slowly. A. You look a little off today. B. My mind feels a bit foggy today. A. Is something wrong? B. There's a lot on my heart right now. A. Do you want to talk about it? B. Maybe later. I'm slowly finding my balance again. A. How do you stay so calm? B. I'm learning to stay calm through difficult moments. I feel a gentle calm inside me. Excellent. Now let's move to sentences you can use when discussing everyday routines, responsibilities, and personal productivity. When you want to describe a busy morning, say, my morning was packed with tasks. Repeat, my morning was packed with tasks. When you're catching up on work, use, I'm trying to get everything back on schedule. Repeat, I'm trying to get everything back on schedule. When you're halfway through something, say, I'm making steady progress. Repeat, I'm making steady progress. When you're close to finishing, use, I'm almost done with everything. Repeat, I'm almost done with everything. And when finishing your day, say, I finally wrapped up all my work. Repeat, I finally wrapped up all my work. Let's create a realistic conversation. A says, how's your day going? B responds, my morning was packed with tasks. A asks, are you still busy? B replies, I'm trying to get everything back on schedule. A asks, are you doing okay? B says, yes, I'm making steady progress. A asks, almost finished? B responds, I'm almost done with everything. A says, that's good. B replies, yes, I finally wrapped up all my work. Now shadow the dialogue. A, how's your day going? B, my morning was packed with tasks. A, are you still busy? B, I'm trying to get everything back on schedule. A, are you doing okay? B, yes, I'm making steady progress. A, almost finished? B, I'm almost done with everything. A, that's good. B, yes, I finally wrapped up all my work. Great. Now let's learn sentences that help you strengthen social interactions and connections. When you're interested in someone's life, say, catch me up on what's new with you. Repeat, catch me up on what's new with you. When reacting to something surprising, use, seriously, I didn't expect that at all. Repeat, seriously, I didn't expect that at all. When someone tells you something nice, say, that means more to me than you think. Repeat, that means more to me than you think. When appreciating time together, say, I always enjoy moments like this. Repeat, I always enjoy moments like this. When ending on a warm note, use, let's stay in touch. Okay, repeat, let's stay in touch. Okay. Let's build these into a friendly conversation. A says, it's been so long since we talked. B responds, I know. Catch me up on what's new with you. A says, a lot has happened lately. B says, seriously, I didn't expect that at all. A replies, I'm glad we finally met up. B says, that means more to me than you think. A responds, I always enjoy moments like this. B replies, same here. Let's stay in touch. Okay, now shadow the dialogue. A, it's been so long since we talked. B, I know. Catch me up on what's new with you. A lot has happened lately. B, seriously, I didn't expect that at all. A, I'm glad we finally met up. B, that means more to me than you think. A, I always enjoy moments like this. B, same here. Let's stay in touch. Okay. Perfect. Now let's practice sentences used to show care, empathy, and real emotional support. When you notice someone struggling, say, you don't seem like yourself today. Repeat. You don't seem like yourself today. When someone is overwhelmed, use let's take things one small step at a time. Repeat. Let's take things one small step at a time. When comforting someone, say, it's okay to feel the way you feel. Repeat. It's okay to feel the way you feel. When giving reassurance, say, I'm here for you. No matter what, repeat. I'm here for you, no matter what. And when helping them move forward, use, we'll get through this together. Repeat. We'll get through this together. Let's create an emotionally supportive conversation. A says, I don't know what's happening to me lately. B responds, you don't seem like yourself today. A says, I feel overwhelmed. B replies, let's take things one small step at a time. A says, I feel like I'm failing. B responds, it's okay to feel the way you feel. A asks, so what now? B replies, I'm here for you, no matter what. We'll get through this together. Now shadow the dialogue. A, I don't know what's happening to me lately. B, you don't seem like yourself today. A, I feel overwhelmed. B, let's take things one small step at a time. A, I feel like I'm failing. B, it's okay to feel the way you feel. A, so what now? B, I'm here for you. No matter what, we'll get through this together. Great work. Now let's move into sentences related to personal development, self-awareness, and long-term growth. When learning about yourself, say, I'm discovering new things about myself every day. Repeat. I'm discovering new things about myself every day. When working on your mindset, use I'm trying to shift my perspective. Repeat. I'm trying to shift my perspective. When becoming more confident, say, I'm slowly stepping into a better version of myself. Repeat. I'm slowly stepping into a better version of myself. When focusing on progress, use I'm proud of the progress I'm making. Repeat. I'm proud of the progress I'm making. When thinking about your future, say, I'm shaping the life I want, little by little. Repeat. I'm shaping the life I want, little by little. Let's build these into a self-growth conversation. A says, you seem more confident lately. B responds, I'm discovering new things about myself every day. A asks, like what? B replies, I'm trying to shift my perspective. A says, that sounds powerful. B says, I'm slowly stepping into a better version of myself. A responds, I can see that. B replies, I'm proud of the progress I'm making. I'm shaping the life I want, little by little. Now shadow the dialogue. A, you seem more confident lately. B, I'm discovering new things about myself every day. A, like what? B, I'm trying to shift my perspective. A, that sounds powerful. B, I'm slowly stepping into a better version of myself. A, I can see that. B, I'm proud of the progress I'm making. I'm shaping the life I want, little by little. Excellent. Now let's focus on sentences used to handle everyday inconveniences calmly and politely. When something doesn't work, say, something seems off with this. Repeat, something seems off with this. When you need more time, use I'll need a little longer to finish. Repeat, I'll need a little longer to finish. When asking for patience, say, thanks for waiting, I appreciate it. Repeat, thanks for waiting, I appreciate it. When giving an update, use I'm working on it right now. Repeat, I'm working on it right now. When fixing the issue, Say. Everything should be fine now. Repeat. Everything should be fine now. Let's build a simple practical conversation. A says, "Is it ready yet?" B responds, "Something seems off with this." A asks, "Do you want help?" B replies, "No, not yet. I'll need a little longer to finish." A says, "Okay, I'll wait." B responds, "Thanks for waiting. I appreciate it." Asks, "Any update?" B replies, "I'm working on it right now. Everything should be fine now." Now shadow the dialogue. A, "Is it ready yet?" B, "Something seems off with this." A, "Do you want help?" B, "No, not yet. I'll need a little longer to finish." A, "Okay, I'll wait." B, "Thanks for waiting. I appreciate it." A, "Any update?" B, "I'm working on it right now. Everything should be fine now." Perfect. Now let's learn sentences that help you express excitement, enthusiasm, and positivity. When you're excited about something, say, "I can't wait to see how this turns out." Repeat, "I can't wait to see how this turns out." When experiencing something joyful, use, "This moment feels really special." Repeat, "This moment feels really special." When you're proud of something, say, "I'm really happy with the result." Repeat, "I'm really happy with the result." When looking forward to something, use, "There's so much to look forward to." Repeat, "There's so much to look forward to." When expressing pure happiness, say, "I feel so light and joyful right now." Repeat, "I feel so light and joyful right now." Let's build these into a cheerful conversation. A says, "How are things going?" B responds, "Great. I can't wait to see how this turns out." A says, "You look excited." B replies, "I am. This moment feels really special." A says, "Did everything go well?" B responds, "Yes. I'm really happy with the result." A says, "What's next?" B replies, "There's so much to look forward to. I feel so light and joyful right now." Now shadow the dialogue. A, "How are things going?" B, "Great. I can't wait to see how this turns out." A, "You look excited." B, "I am. This moment feels really special." A, "Did everything go well?" B, "Yes. I'm really happy with the result." A, "What's next?" B, "There's so much to look forward to. I feel so light and joyful right now." Let's continue building your fluency with more real, emotional, everyday English. In this section, you'll learn expressions used to communicate gently, connect deeply, and speak naturally in any situation. Shadow each sentence out loud. Your voice builds memory. Let's begin with sentences that help you express subtle thoughts and inner reflections. When you're thinking deeply, say, "I've been reflecting on a lot lately." Repeat, "I've been reflecting on a lot lately." When something is unclear in your mind, use, "I'm trying to make sense of everything." Repeat, "I'm trying to make sense of everything." When you finally understand something, say, "It's becoming clearer now." Repeat, "It's becoming clearer now." When describing inner change, use, "I feel a quiet shift happening inside me." Repeat, "I feel a quiet shift happening inside me." When you want to describe a moment of realization, say, "I didn't notice it before, but now I see it differently." Repeat, "I didn't notice it before, but now I see it differently." Let's build these into a smooth conversation. A says, "You seem deep in thought lately." B responds, "I've been reflecting on a lot lately." A asks, "Like what?" B replies, "I'm trying to make sense of everything." A says, "Is it helping?" B says, "Yes, it's becoming clearer now." A asks, "What changed?" B responds, "I feel a quiet shift happening inside me. I didn't notice it before, but now I see it differently. Now shadow the conversation slowly." A, "You seem deep in thought lately." B, "I've been reflecting on a lot lately." A, "Like what?" B, "I'm trying to make sense of everything." A, "Is it helping?" B, "Yes, it's becoming clearer now." A, "What changed?" B, "I feel a quiet shift happening inside me. I didn't notice it before, but now I see it differently." Excellent. Now let's move to sentences about expressing opinions respectfully and navigating discussions calmly. When sharing your view gently, say, "Here's how I see it." Repeat, "Here's how I see it." When acknowledging someone's idea, use, "You make a good point there." Repeat, "You make a good point there." When expressing disagreement softly, say, "I understand your point, but I feel differently about it." Repeat, "I understand your point, but I feel differently about it." When you want to find a middle ground, use, "Maybe we can meet somewhere in the middle." Repeat, "Maybe we can meet somewhere in the middle." When agreeing to adjust, say, "I'm open to making changes if it helps us move forward." Repeat, "I'm open to making changes if it helps us move forward." Let's create a respectful discussion. A says, "I think we should take a different approach." B responds, "Here's how I see it." A asks, "Okay, what's your view?" B replies, "You make a good point there, but I understand your point, and I feel differently about it." A asks, "So what do we do?" B responds, "Maybe we can meet somewhere in the middle." A says, "That sounds reasonable." B replies, "Great. I'm open to making changes if it helps us move forward." Now shadow the dialogue. A, "I think we should take a different approach." B, "Here's how I see it." A, "Okay, what's your view?" B, "You make a good point there, but I understand your point, and I feel differently about it." A, "So what do we do?" B, "Maybe we can meet somewhere in the middle." A, "That sounds reasonable." B, "Great. I'm open to making changes if it helps us move forward." Great. Now let's move to comfortable. Warm social interactions, the kind that build relationships naturally. When asking about someone's life, say, "How have things been for you lately?" Repeat, "How have things been for you lately?" When responding positively, use, "I've been doing pretty well." Actually, repeat, "I've been doing pretty well." Actually. When reacting to someone's good news, say, "That's really wonderful to hear." Repeat, "That's really wonderful to hear." When showing support, say, "I'm really rooting for you." Repeat, "I'm really rooting for you." When ending the conversation warmly, use, "Let's catch up again soon." Repeat, "Let's catch up again soon." Let's create a friendly conversation. A says, "How have things been for you lately?" B responds, "I've been doing pretty well. Actually." A says, "That's good. Anything new?" B replies, "A few things." A says, "That's really wonderful to hear." B responds, "Thanks. I'm really rooting for you, too." A says, "Same here." B replies, "Let's catch up again soon." Now shadow the dialogue. A, "How have things been for you lately?" B, "I've been doing pretty well. Actually." A, "That's good. Anything new?" B, "A few things." A, "That's really wonderful to hear." B, "Thanks. I'm really rooting for you too." A, "Same here." B, "Let's catch up again soon." Excellent. Now let's learn sentences used to talk about progress, challenges, and self-improvement. When you feel yourself improving, say, I can feel myself growing little by little. Repeat, I can feel myself growing little by little. When you struggle but stay determined, use I'm facing challenges, but I'm not giving up. Repeat, I'm facing challenges, but I'm not giving up. When you stay focused, say, I'm doing my best to stay consistent. Repeat, I'm doing my best to stay consistent. When you want to encourage yourself, use every effort I make brings me closer to my goals. Repeat, every effort I make brings me closer to my goals. When reflecting on your journey, say, I'm learning to trust the process. Repeat, I'm learning to trust the process. Let's build a personal growth conversation. A says, how's your progress going? B responds, I can feel myself growing little by little. A asks, is it hard? B replies, I'm facing challenges, but I'm not giving up. A says, that's impressive. B responds, I'm doing my best to stay consistent. A asks, how do you stay motivated? B replies, every effort I make brings me closer to my goals. I'm learning to trust the process. Now shadow the dialogue. A, how's your progress going? B, I can feel myself growing little by little. A, is it hard? B, I'm facing challenges, but I'm not giving up. A, that's impressive. B, I'm doing my best to stay consistent. A, how do you stay motivated? B, every effort I make brings me closer to my goals. I'm learning to trust the process. Great job. Now let's move to emotional comfort sentences used when someone needs reassurance or gentle support. When someone feels lost, say, you're not alone in what you're feeling. Repeat, you're not alone in what you're feeling. When someone is uncertain, use, it's okay to take your time. Repeat, it's okay to take your time. When offering support, say, I'm right here if you need me. Repeat, I'm right here if you need me. When helping someone stay calm, use, let's take a deep breath together. Repeat, let's take a deep breath together. When giving encouragement, say, you're stronger than this moment. Repeat, you're stronger than this moment. Let's create a gentle support conversation. A says, I feel completely lost. B responds, you're not alone in what you're feeling. A says, I don't know what to do. B replies, it's okay to take your time. A asks, can you stay with me for a bit? B responds, I'm right here if you need me. A breathes out, saying thank you. B replies, let's take a deep breath together. You're stronger than this moment. Now shadow the conversation. A, I feel completely lost. B, you're not alone in what you're feeling. A, I don't know what to do. B, it's okay to take your time. A, can you stay with me for a bit? B, I'm right here if you need me. A, thank you. B, let's take a deep breath together. You're stronger than this moment. Excellent. Now let's practice sentences used to manage unexpected events calmly and confidently. When something suddenly changes, say, that was unexpected, but I'll adjust. Repeat, that was unexpected, but I'll adjust. When you need time to think, use, let me process this for a moment. Repeat, let me process this for a moment. When you're figuring out a situation, say, I'm trying to understand what's going on. Repeat, I'm trying to understand what's going on. When you reach a decision, use all right, I know what I need to do. Repeat, all right, I know what I need to do. When things improve, say, everything is settling back into place. Repeat, everything is settling back into place. Let's create a realistic scenario. A says, the plan just changed again. B responds, that was unexpected, but I'll adjust. A asks, do you need a moment? B replies, yes. Let me process this for a moment. A says, do you understand the new plan? B responds, I'm trying to understand what's going on. A asks, so what now? B replies, all right, I know what I need to do. Everything is settling back into place. Now shadow the dialogue. A, the plan just changed again. B, that was unexpected, but I'll adjust. A, do you need a moment? B, let me process this for a moment. A, do you understand the new plan? B, I'm trying to understand what's going on. A, so what now? B, all right, I know what I need to do. Everything is settling back into place. Perfect. Now let's end with sentences expressing joy, warmth, and connection. When you feel happiness, say, this moment makes me feel alive. Repeat, this moment makes me feel alive. When something surprises you pleasantly, use, that just brightened my whole day. Repeat, that just brightened my whole day. When you deeply enjoy something, say, I'm really cherishing this. Repeat, I'm really cherishing this. When something inspires you, use, this fills me with so much motivation. Repeat, this fills me with so much motivation. When closing with positivity, say, I'm ending today with a grateful heart. Repeat, I'm ending today with a grateful heart. Let's create a warm conversation. A says, you look happy today. B responds, this moment makes me feel alive. A says, what happened? B replies, something small, but it just brightened my whole day. A says, that's wonderful. B responds, I'm really cherishing this. A asks, how do you feel now? B replies, this fills me with so much motivation. I'm ending today with a grateful heart. Now shadow it. A, you look happy today. B, this moment makes me feel alive. A, what happened? B, something small, but it just brightened my whole day. A, that's wonderful. B, I'm really cherishing this. A, how do you feel now? B, this fills me with so much motivation. I'm ending today with a grateful heart. Let's continue strengthening your English with more natural, expressive sentences used every day by native speakers. These sentences help you navigate emotions, conversations, planning, confusion, gratitude, and connection with confidence. Listen closely, shadow when you can, and imagine yourself speaking these words naturally in real life. Let's begin with sentences that help you express clarity, focus, and understanding. When you want to say you finally understand something, say, it's starting to click for me now. Repeat, it's starting to click for me now. When something becomes easier, use, it makes more sense the more I think about it. Repeat, it makes more sense the more I think about it. When you want to show you've gained clarity, say, I finally see the full picture. Repeat, I finally see the full picture. When you're working through a new idea, use, let me break this down in my mind. Repeat, let me break this down in my mind. When you understand someone's explanation, say, got it. That clears things up. Repeat, got it. That clears things up. Let's build a quick conversation. A says, I hope my explanation wasn't confusing. B responds, Actually, it's starting to click for me now, A says. Really? B replies, Yes. It makes more sense the more I think about it. A asks, So everything's good? B says, Yes. I finally see the full picture. A replies, Good. I'm glad that clears things up. Now shadow slowly. A, I hope my explanation wasn't confusing. B, it's starting to click for me now. A, really. B, it makes more sense the more I think about it. A, so everything's good. B, yes. I finally see the full picture. A, good. I'm glad that clears things up. Great. Now let's move to emotional honesty sentences used when you want to express vulnerability or inner feelings naturally. When you feel overwhelmed, say, My mind feels a bit heavy today. Repeat, My mind feels a bit heavy today. When you're emotionally tired, use I'm trying my best, but I'm running low on energy. Repeat, I'm trying my best, but I'm running low on energy. When you need time alone, say, I just need a quiet moment to myself. Repeat, I just need a quiet moment to myself. When you want to explain your feelings honestly, use, I'm still figuring out how I feel about this. Repeat, I'm still figuring out how I feel about this. When you want gentle support, say, Can you stay with me while I sort this out? Repeat, Can you stay with me while I sort this out? Let's create a heartfelt, natural exchange. A says, You seem a little off today. B responds, My mind feels a bit heavy today. A asks, Are you okay? B replies, I'm trying my best, but I'm running low on energy. A says, Do you need anything? B responds, I just need a quiet moment to myself. A asks, Do you want me to wait? B replies, Yes. Can you stay with me while I sort this out? Now shadow gently. A, you seem a little off today. B, my mind feels a bit heavy today. Are you okay? B, I'm trying my best, but I'm running low on energy. A, do you need anything? B, I just need a quiet moment to myself. A, do you want me to wait? B, yes. Can you stay with me while I sort this out? Excellent. Now let's move to communication for teamwork, problem solving, and collaboration. When you want to begin solving a problem, say, Let's tackle this one step at a time. Repeat, Let's tackle this one step at a time. When you want to adjust a plan, use, Let's shift the approach a little. Repeat, Let's shift the approach a little. When you want to give a suggestion politely, say, How about we try this instead? Repeat, How about we try this instead? When you want to confirm progress, use, Are we heading in the right direction? Repeat, Are we heading in the right direction? When you want to support someone's idea, say, That could actually work really well. Repeat, That could actually work really well. Let's turn these into a scene. A says, This problem is bigger than we expected. B responds, Then let's tackle this one step at a time. A says, I'm not sure where to begin. B replies, Let's shift the approach a little. A asks, What do you suggest? B says, How about we try this instead? A asks, Are we heading in the right direction? B replies, Yes, that could actually work really well. Now shadow the dialogue. A, This problem is bigger than we expected. B, Let's tackle this one step at a time. A, I'm not sure where to begin. B, Let's shift the approach a little. A, What do you suggest? B, How about we try this instead? A, Are we heading in the right direction? B, Yes, that could actually work really well. Great! Now let's strengthen your ability to communicate appreciation and gratitude, something native speakers do constantly. When thanking someone deeply, say, "I can't tell you how much this means to me." Repeat, "I can't tell you how much this means to me." When someone helps you think clearly, use, "You helped me see things from a better angle." Repeat, "You helped me see things from a better angle." When expressing emotional gratitude, say, "Thank you for being patient with me." Repeat, "Thank you for being patient with me." When someone supports you, use, "You've been incredibly kind. I appreciate that." Repeat, "You've been incredibly kind. I appreciate that." When ending with warmth, say, "You made a real difference in my day." Repeat, "You made a real difference in my day." Let's build a natural, warm conversation. A says, "I hope I didn't overwhelm you earlier." B responds, "No, you helped me see things from a better angle." A says, "I'm glad to hear that." B replies, "Really, I can't tell you how much this means to me." A says, "You don't have to thank me." B responds, "I do. Thank you for being patient with me." A replies, "You're welcome. You've been incredibly kind, too." B says, "You made a real difference in my day." Now shadow softly. A, "I hope I didn't overwhelm you earlier." B, "You helped me see things from a better angle." A, "I'm glad to hear that." B, "I can't tell you how much this means to me." A, "You don't have to thank me." B, "Thank you for being patient with me." A, "You're welcome. You've been incredibly kind too." B, "You made a real difference in my day." Beautiful. Let's continue with calm, confident sentences used when responding to unexpected events. When something surprising happens, say, "I didn't expect that at all." Repeat, "I didn't expect that at all." When you're unsure what to do, use, "I'm trying to figure out my next move." Repeat, "I'm trying to figure out my next move." When you want to stay positive, say, "I'll take it one moment at a time." Repeat, "I'll take it one moment at a time." When you finally decide, use okay. "I know what I need to do now." Repeat, "Okay, I know what I need to do now." When things start going well again, say, "Everything is falling back into place." Repeat, "Everything is falling back into place." A quick example conversation. A says, "Something unexpected happened at work today." B responds, "I didn't expect that at all." A says, "I don't know what to do next." B replies, "I'm trying to figure out my next move too." A says, "This is stressful." B responds, "I'll take it one moment at a time." A asks, "Are you okay now?" B replies, "Yes. Okay, I know what I need to do now. Everything is falling back into place." Now shadow. A, "Something unexpected happened at work today." B, "I didn't expect that at all." A, "I don't know what to do next." B, "I'm trying to figure out my next move too." A, "This is stressful." B, "I'll take it one moment at a time." A, "Are you okay now?" B, "Yes. Okay. I know what I need to do now. Everything is falling back into place." Now let's finish this video with sentences that inspire confidence, growth, and emotional strength, the essence of English in motion. When motivating yourself, say, "I'm slowly becoming the person I want to be." Repeat, "I'm slowly becoming the person I want to be." When celebrating your effort, use, "I'm proud of the progress I'm making." Repeat, "I'm proud of the progress I'm making." When pushing through difficulty, say, I'm stronger than the challenges in front of me. Repeat. I'm stronger than the challenges in front of me. When embracing your journey, use I trust myself to keep moving forward. Repeat. I trust myself to keep moving forward. When ending the day confidently, say, I'm doing my best, and that's enough. Repeat, I'm doing my best, and that's enough. Thank you so much for spending your time learning with me today.